I'm Amelia and I'm here for Mind the Model to tell you a little bit more about my story and to delve deeper from the interview questions. So I've been asked to expand on some of the things I've spoken about, definitely to do with my body positive journey, which I can say started at about 10. I have that 10 in my head. And I guess this is when I started looking at Cosmopolitan and Dolly and Old Girlfriend. And I loved reading about things, but the one thing I noticed over time was that they didn't show anyone that was like me. And at 10, it's hard to kind of say you're a woman's body or anything. I was a bit bigger and taller and just generally curvier. So as the years went on, getting to 15, 16, I just saw nothing still. And I started to look at my body and go, well, your boobs are saggy. Like in my head, that's what I'd say to myself. So yeah, it was really, I didn't realize how bad it was probably until reflecting on it now as an adult at nearly 29. So I think it's really, it's distressing to a point because I wonder who else is feeling the same way. So that's where I went into wondering why I was feeling this way. At about 21, I went, I'm so sick of hating my body. There wouldn't be a day where I would walk out of the house and be happy fully. So yeah, I always loved fashion as well, but I could never find fashion. I could never find things to fit me. And all of these things together just made me feel really, really horrible. And I don't know how to explain that horrible feeling. It's like you can use all these words like self-worth and you feel unhappy and like, it's just like to your core, you just feel like something's missing. So I knew there was a problem. And in my family, we've all been taught to like ourselves. And I just found it really hard because my sisters weren't the same as me. They didn't really have as much weight on them, or they didn't have like a size E bust at 15 is really hard. So there were things there, the hurdles there that I found. Even my shoe size 10, I've always been a size 10, but I couldn't find shoes. Like only, I actually worked in a shoe shop, ironically, because once I realized they were making more 10s for females, I would have to buy men's shoes. I mean, I know it sounds really extreme, but it was my life trying to find things that fit me. I wasn't that different. I really wasn't. It was just that things weren't available. So that fed into this already vulnerable teenager of you're not normal. And no one feels normal as a teenager. I understand that, but it's just this extra things where I couldn't find a dress for my formal. I had to get one made. And the shoes, I would go into Myer and go to the men's section and get the most plain ones, like the runners especially. For bras, I'd go into Target, the maternity section. Just, there wasn't anything around. So that kind of brings me to how I changed my thinking, I guess. And I decided I was sick of it. I was just sick of feeling horrible. And there wasn't anyone around me that I could talk to that really felt the same way. I mean, people were empathetic, but they weren't really going, oh my God, me too. And it was when I started modeling and I met other plus size models that I was like, oh my God, you're me, just in a different body. And it was just, people were as tall as me and as curvy, and that was probably a big turning point for me. And I'll go just backtrack on how I got into modeling. I've always been a performer and I've always sung, and singing to me was nothing to do with my looks. Until I auditioned for musical theatre and they said, well, sorry, you're too tall, you're taller than the leading man, and you're curvier than our costumes and things like that. And I went, you know what? No. If I'm going to actually do something, it's going to be something to change the industry. So I decided I wanted to still do something in performance. And I've been one to always take on a challenge. So I actually Googled plus size modeling. And and actually when I got accepted to be a model, it broke down my relationship with my boyfriend. So actually that was devastating. And I had he was the person that made me feel good about myself. And it was almost like a cover, like a blanket. So I knew I had all these body image problems, but I felt loved by him, so I didn't have to address them. So this was, again, a big turning point where I really knew I wanted to do it, and I felt empowered by this. But yeah, he got jealous and really like started acting badly, and yeah. So I broke it off with him after a while because I knew it was something I really wanted to do. So I kept going, and it was the best thing to happen because I had to really look inside me. And this is where I started seeing a psychologist. So I went and I said, I just want to learn to like myself. And I'd already started the journey, but I really wanted to know why. And I was choosing the wrong people in my life, like the wrong man and that kind of thing. And I was wondering why I was making these choices, like men who wouldn't talk to me properly, respectfully. And so I started seeing one, and I stopped, and then I went back. So it's been like a cycle where when I felt like I want to work on something, I go. And when I want to have some support and some understanding, I go. So I'm really proud of that. I think that everyone should somehow think about what they want to work on and go and get some help, because you don't have to do it on your own. So these are the things I haven't really spoken about a lot. If you look at Curvy Amelia on the Instagram, it's all about loving your body now, but it's not really like the real feelings. And even to this day, I feel really isolated sometimes. And I look at my body in the mirror, and now I like it in a different way, but I still have those little, things in my head going, well, your stomach looks big today, or, and that's why I started doing my sitting down poses and showing stomach, and just for myself as well as for other people. So that's that's me.
Thank